The Royal Bahamas Defense Force is the Navy of the Bahamas. Since the Bahamas does not have an army or an air force, its navy composes the entirety of its armed forces. Under the Defense Act, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force has been mandated to defend the Bahamas, protect its territorial integrity, patrol its waters, provide assistance in times of disaster, maintain order in conjunction with the law enforcement agencies of the Bahamas, and carry out any such duties as determined by the National Security Council. The Defense Force is also a member of CARICOM's Regional Security Task Force. The task force has seen action in the United Nations Mandate in Haiti 1994. History. By an Act of Parliament, the RBDF became an official entity on 31 March 1980, falling under the Ministry of National Security. The Queen of the Bahamas, Queen Elizabeth II, is Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Force, with her ceremonial role exercised by the Governor-General of the Bahamas. The Defense Force also has adopted its own system of medals and awards. The only combat action the RBDF has ever been involved with has been against Cuba. On 10 May 1980, the HMBS Flamingo attempted to arrest two Cuban fishing vessels, the Ferrocem 165 and the Ferrocem 54, for poaching in Bahamian waters. In retaliation, two Cuban MiG-21s invaded Bahamas airspace and fired on the patrol boat. The Cubans sank the ship with their 23mm cannons, and fired upon Marines in distress in the water. Fenric Sturrup, Austin Smith, David Tucker and Edward Williams, all Bahamian Defense Force Marines, were killed in the attack. 15 crewmen and the commander made it safely to Duncantown, on Ragged Island, after being picked up by the fishing vessels they had boarded. The poachers were convicted in July 1980, and Cuba eventually admitted responsibility, paying the Bahamas $10 million in compensation for the incident. The force. The RBDF is strictly a naval force, and therefore differs from the rest of its Caribbean counterparts. With about 1,000 members, it is the largest of the Commonwealth Caribbean navies. Several changes in equipment have been seen in the history of the RBDF. Originally British uniforms were worn by RBDF personnel, now U.S. woodland camouflage is worn. The first weapons used were the Sterling submachine gun and the L1A1 SLR, now the American M4 carbine and the Heckler & Koch UMP submachine gun are employed for duty. Unlike other British Commonwealth land forces, there are no regular infantry brigades. Instead, there are special forces. These are the Special Operations Unit, which is the seagoing section associated with all ships and small craft, and the Commando Squadron, which acts as an amphibious infantry unit and also performs security duties. The Commando Squadron is a sizable force of at least 500 Special Marine Commandos. Training is conducted with the U.S. Navy SEALs in special naval warfare and also with the British Royal Marines. A common training practice is to have a Marine recruit conduct a 2-mile swim carrying a 40-pound rucksack. The M101 105mm howitzer-towed artillery is also employed in RBDF service. Structure. There are 2 career tracks in the RBDF. Marine and Officer. The enlisted personnel ranks range from Marine to Force Chief Petty Officer. The officer ranks range from midshipman to Commodore. The force is organized and trained along the lines of the British Royal Navy, and many of the officers attend British service academies. The headquarters of the Defence Force are at RBDF Base HMBS Coral Harbour, on New Providence Island. The commander officer, known as Commander Defense Force, is Commodore Roderick Bowe, who relieved Commodore Clifford Butch Scavler on 21 January 2010. Additional bases are located in Matthewtown, Anagua and Freeport, Grand Bahama. The RBDF uses the British Royal Navy style of rank insignia, and all ships carry the title HMBS. Due to the lack of ships, most RBDF members do not spend time at sea, and are used for other military or non-military roles. Peacekeeping missions have been conducted with the participation of RBDF members in El Salvador and Haiti. Equipment: S&W 5906 TSW pistol, Glock 17 pistol, Beretta 92 FS pistol, 9mm H&K MP5A2 SMG, 9mm IMI Uzi SMG, 9mm IMI Mini Uzi SMG, 9mm Sterling MKIV L2A3 SMG, 18.5mm 12-gauge Spars 12-shot gun, 18.5mm 12-gauge Remington Model 870P shotgun, 7.62mm FN FAL 5000 L1A1 SAR, 7.62mm Remington 70P, 5.56mm IMI Galilor, 5.56mm Colt M4 carbine SAR, 5.56mm Colt M16A1R, 5.56mm AR-15R600R, 7.62mm FN Mag 6020 LMG, 15M101 105mm towed howitzer. Land Rover 4 ships. The main ships in the force are 2 Bahamas class and 4 Legend class offshore patrol vessels. The latter are first part of the 9-vessel acquisition contract signed the Damon's Shipyards Group in April 2013. 4 of the new vessels will be Stan 4207 design, 4 of the new vessels will be Stan 3007 design, and the final vessel will be 55 meters landing craft style transport craft Damon type Stan Lander 5612, Air Wing. Current inventory call for an overhaul of the RBDF. During a radio interview on the Bahamas radio station Love 97 issues of the Day Show on 5 December 2006, the RBDF commander stated that there were only 2 patrol boats operational and there is only 1 plane in service, but no pilot trained to fly the aircraft. He also stated that up to 25% of the ranks of the defense force are bad apples and need to be weeded out. The commander also stated that there are many programs being studied set to improve the defense force's capacity to provide security for Bahamian territorial waters. The future revitalization of the RBDF will include the provision of additional aircraft, increased manpower and salaries, base facilities and command outposts. In the early summer of 2008, these overhauls had begun. The RBDF has also reduced numbers by a third in order to remove undesirable personnel from the military ranks. Service vehicles and patrol boats are in more regular use, and both illegal immigrant seizures and illegal drug seizures have increased proportionately to the revamped force finally being used. One of the major seizures was undertaken by boat P-48. Roughly 692 kilogram-sized bales of marijuana were taken off a Go Fast boat with a local street value of roughly $750,000 United States dollars and a Miami street value at well over $1.3 million United States dollars.